new sweats. Working hard, got 2 jobs, Friday night, but thank you Lord, there's 2 checks. It's 2 checks, yeah. Game of spades, beer the flight, I'm talking 10 straight books, you goddamn right, now who's next? Get off my table. Who's next, yeah. Huh? I don't dance a boogie, somebody tell a DJ, put on my song, we grown and we want a 2-step. That's the new flex. Yeah, 2-step to this, 2-step. Everybody come on. Come on.
What's going on, brother? How are you?
What's poppin'? Finally made it to a space together. It's
It's
been so
been
long.
Yeah, this is a rare occasion. I think so.
Sure. I'll go first. My name's Don Bailey, CEO of Blockbusters Tech. The Blockbusters Tech ecosystem includes Blockbusters Tech, Mirror Protocol, the Token View, My Spot, Universal Coin Profile, a few other projects that have yet to be released, and we're going to be talking about our partnership with the Lynx Crypto and how that integrates into everything that I just mentioned.
Yep. And my name is Spencer. I am the founder of Lynx and the solo developer. I think I have less of a resume than Don. I also work with Para, if you're familiar with them, do a lot of development work there. And I just kind of do development work for projects here and there. But my pet project is definitely Lynx. And so I think the way that Don and we've really come to know each other and love each other. And I think the way we're going to partner is I can bring a lot of technology to the table that will help him further his goals and also just help the crypto community as a whole have access to a lot of data that is hard to get your hands on as of now.
I feel like we should just keep this focused on Lynx Crypto and then kind of tie it into how BBTF is using it.
You're doing the most. You're doing the most. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So, not to like be overwhelming or anything, but through all of this thing, the one thing that I realized is that like, dang, to do this through like any of the providers to get like, pricing data for every token, it's incredibly expensive. It is like, I think I was quoted from most like providers, like $4,000 to $6,000 a month, for us to just be able to stay up to date with chains or trades that happen on like Pancake Swap or Uniswap or whatever. And so through that process, I built our entire backend infrastructure, as Vince alluded to, that basically we are doing that hard part for people. So we're keeping track of the price of every token, and then we offer that as an API service, so that people can come and use our data for a much more affordable rate, right? Because it's impossible to do a lot of. I know if you're not a developer, it doesn't seem, it's like whatever, but to make a lot of the projects that you see, you really need good node providers, you need good data providers, you need all sorts of things to make an amazing service. And so in the blockchain right now, everyone's just price gouging people. So that was something that I just sort of built as a byproduct of Lynx, and then people started asking me for that data, and it just sort of went from there. So yeah, basically we offer charting data, price data, all sorts of stuff for any of our supported exchanges, which there's a list of them. But essentially, it's all the major ones, right? Like SafeMoon Swap, Pancake Swap, Uniswap, Sushi Swap, etc. Any trade that happens on there, we're getting the prices updated in our database instantly, and everyone can have access to it. And that's where my relationship with Don sort of came in. He kind of ran into the same thing I that I found, where it's like, man, to do anything, this is just impossibly expensive. And so that's sort of where this partnership came about.
Ooh, can I chat?
Go ahead.
So there are a couple things here. So first, like Spencer nailed it, right? The industry as a whole, when you're trying to develop in a space, what developers experience is um, an increased need for accurate data. And you can get data that has a latency, but if you want real-time data, it's really expensive. For example, with my DexPod is a bot service. The first bot is an arbitrage bot. In order for you to have a perfect arbitrage trade, you need real-time data and the most accurate data as possible. The more quickly you can get the data, the more quickly you can calculate the arbitrage percentage, the more quickly you can fire your arbitrage bot. So in the testing phases, we were in beta. The first thing that we realized is, wow, this data is really expensive. And if any of you guys are familiar with Leet, every single time you hear him speak, he'll talk about data. So the data was really expensive for us, to the point to where we were spending maybe $300 a day for the data. And I quickly realized, the reason why, innovation is so limited or goes like, operates in the shadows in this space is because the barrier to entry, um, or one of the key culprits for a high barrier to entry is the increased price of the data. And one of the unique reasons for this is because the players that provide this data, it's very limited. We have, actually, I'm not going to name drop some of the players because I'm going to criticize the industry. But there are a lot of data brokers in this space where you can just use their APIs, use their RPCs, whatever. What Lynx provides is an opportunity for people that are building in a space to get access to, you know, I don't want to call it inexpensive data, but for a get better value out of their dollar spent. The data, like Lynx, just happens to provide data faster than any other service that I provided. So it's more real time. It provides more charting data than other companies. They don't have the barrier to entry for tokens listed because they're reading every single trade on any given blockchain that Lynx is looking at. And this provides an opportunity for developers to heavily rely on this service. So as we like look at the BBTF Lynx partnership, um, there are two key components here. One is our services that we're providing, right? So like my DexBot. better benefits from this than anything else, or any other service provider, um, because of it being cost efficient, but also more efficient in terms of how it provides the data. Universal coin profile. We can now start feeding data in from every single coin profile or every single coin because we're reading directly from the blockchain with Lynx data. But more importantly, our cooperation on growing the Lynx platform. The healthier Lynx is, the healthier BBTF is. So one of the key components that we're looking at is how do we improve the API offering to other companies? Not only that, actually, should I drop that second thing, that second B2B service yet, Spencer, or should we just
Sure, go ahead. No, you're good. Go ahead.
yeah, so like not just the API services and people feeding in their data, but you actually need access to nodes if you're going to do anything that requires you to trigger an action on a blockchain. So now providing people with more affordable node access is another component that we get to utilize in our specific component of the space. So one of the things that I believe BBTF like brings value to the crypto space, but also in terms of the partnership with Lynx, is our ability to incubate ideas that we discover, whether it be through funding, whether it be through development, but also like in terms of that incubation, we now have the ability to provide those projects with access to accurate data. That was it.
That's the end. Yeah, no, preach, brother. I mean that everything he said. I know as a non-developer, it's hard to sort of like understand I guess like the scale on which this is important. But it truly is. I mean, it makes and that was the first thing I learned whenever, because I am a software developer by trade in, I guess you would call it, the Web 2 space. And then coming into the Web 3 space, seeing, and I was like, oh my goodness, these people are price gouging you like to the point that it's impossible to build a useful service. And so yeah, I mean, he hit it right on the head there. So yeah, I mean, I think that's something that we're actively trying to bring to the table, is give more projects access to the data that they need to provide the services that they want to provide.
And one more thing, I forgot to mention this like at the top of my speech, but um I want to take the opportunity to kind of like shed some light on Spencer. I'm not saying like everybody go follow him and blow him up. But like if you're not following this guy, so there are developers in this space, right? And each developer comes with their own, kind of specialty on what they're good at. And like there are some developers, like we have developers on our team that are, knock down smart contract, knock down like across the board. To find someone like Spencer who knows Dexes, who knows uh I'm gonna say tokenomics, but I don't mean it in the same sense. Like what I mean is like token economics. So like the trades, like what the potential like price impact of a trade is, and like someone who knows that and has a specialty in liquidity and that specific focus of a token is absolutely like tough to find. A lot of people focus on building the token, but there's a lot that happens after that. Like you can launch a token and then like kind of just like leave it out there to like do whatever, and tirade coming here. It's kind of like when someone like launches a token and then renounces the contract and they kind of just let it do what it does. And then like, that whole group of people who think, oh, the contract's renounced, that means it's safe. But then you got, the developer holding like 80% of the supply and starts dumping on a token. Like to identify things like that, that's where you get those little warning labels from. That's like when you're like looking at the token contract on CMC or Dex Screener, like the people that identify those characteristics is someone like Spencer. I have yet to this day to meet someone who knows more about his specific skill set. And I've met a lot of developers. So I think that's extremely important to have, that kind of guy in your circle. So sorry for
I
not.
appreciate that, bro. I appreciate that, bro. It's not even that. I think, I mean, just to speak on the topic, I think the issue is that if you were to go get a highly skilled, like normal Web 2 developer and try to bring them into the Web 3 space, they normally won't come because one, they don't understand the space. Number two, they're scared of the space because it has a bad rap, right? And then so then what you're left with is a lot of sketchy people who pretend to know what they're doing when they really don't. And then you end up with contracts breaking. You end up with people sneaking things past people. I can't tell you how many calls I've gotten about people being like, "Hey, we just had this developer do, whatever, an NFT contract for us," and then suddenly they actually rugged all the money from the minting because they left a back door in and no one caught it. That kind of stuff is just rampant in this space, and honestly, it's really sad. But I don't think I'm anything special. I just think I am a skilled Web 2 developer that came over into the Web 2 space or into the Web 3 space without the desire to scam anyone, right? I mean, I think that's the core of it.
Yeah, work with people that have integrity.
Yep.
And honestly, our relationship has been built on that. A lot of like this partnership has been in the works for like almost half a year now. And like we've been working on ironing out the details, finding out like where need meets ability on both sides, and we finally came to a place where we were able to create a mutually beneficial relationship between the two entities. So that's number one, but number two, and I think most importantly, is we now have the opportunity to provide, or first, like see if projects, leaders, like, are they docs, like, kind of evaluate the integrity of a project, and then also provide them a pathway to launching. Before in the space, the pathway to launching was the skill and the know-how. So because we can provide like legitimate entities with a pathway to launch, and we've essentially removed all internal barriers by like literally reducing the cost to entry, so we can provide lower cost services to enter into the market. It allows us to facilitate a pathway for more, like, I don't want to say legitimate, implying that the like if you're not doing this path, you're not legitimate, but like more projects that fit our paradigm of projects, like we can push more of those into the space. And what I think will be the result of that is a space where we have, you know, more good projects than bad. So this space would be on balance, a legitimate space. So we can, kind of like whenever we see a bad actor appear, we can identify it immediately. And then also the people that participate in the space are able to identify the traits of those bad actors as well.
Absolutely, bro.
Right.
Ab-
So- oh, go ahead, Spencer. I'm sorry.
no, I was just gonna say absolutely. I was just gonna say preach.
So, and a pretty interesting story. So, I was actually, so two interesting stories. I always do that. I start with one, and then my brain tells me about another one. I'll tell the shorter one first. I was on a call with a project that's going to be launching soon, and the owner of that project was, just out in Napa Valley, kind of like brushing shoulders with the who's who of Napa Valley, and he came back and said like something that kind of like opened my eyes a bit. He was like, the partnerships that just people want to move fast and don't want to do their due diligence on the partnership. He was like, you got to be weary of those. The partnerships where people take time and take care to make sure the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted. They're not doing that so that, to make sure that they can't, personally get fucked over or their team can't. They're doing it because they want to ensure the longevity of the partnership. There are so many scenarios that can occur within a partnership that if it's predefined at the beginning stages, you already have like instructions on what to do with this, and you can make those decisions easily without causing the partnership, to have any type of like, oh, what about this? Oh, what about that? Like you've already predefined it. You guys have already agreed to this, and that's why you're rocking and rolling. And it's so easy to make money with a group of people, to make innovations with a group of people, if at the beginning you've already set the rules of engagement. It takes all the stress off the board, all the potential, I'll call them like, caveats that you'll like want to like have to deal with in the future. Not saying that there aren't going to be like tough decisions that any partnership has to make. But again, our goal here is to grow both organizations, and grow both organizations quite rapidly up until the next bull run, and then exponentially during the next bull run. So setting the plans in place for that, doing all of that, it's like absolutely phenomenal. Like working with people who like have the same dream as you, but also the same like care for the users as you. The mirror protocol. Gotti's down there, Leeds down there, Christian, Morgan, yeah, Dimpo's down there. This is like the whole team. I see Dreaming. All right, but all right.
I was gonna say he's actually just our resident asshole. That's all, Jay. Our
I'm gonna
resident
I'm
asshole.
gonna drop something for those who know, but the wizard is down there. Brandon, shout out. I don't know if that. But okay, so I want to do this because I feel like this is really important, and we got to get some things out of the way. So first, let's start off with this. How does someone who doesn't know anything about links start using the technology?
Oh man. Okay. go to the go to the website, right? Watch. There's a little explainer video. It's a little bit outdated, but I think it's like 99% accurate. It's only like a minute or two, and it will basically give you an overview of what it does. Beyond that, you just download the app, iOS or Android. There is a web version, but honestly, I wouldn't. The only reason it's there is because so many people requested it. It's not actually amazing. The web version is going to be coming very, very soon. But download the app, go over to the wallets tab, copy and paste your wallet addresses that you're interested in, and it'll walk you through the rest, right? You just copy and paste your address in, click go. It will grab all of your tokens. It will ask you which ones do you want to add to your portfolio, and you're going to be surprised at all the tokens that it shows because the way that you currently do it through like MetaMask, right? You have to manually import each token that you care about or what have you. But with Lynx, we're going to say, all right, here's all of your tokens. A lot of these you've never heard of because they're scam tokens. They were just sent to you. A lot of them may be tokens you forgot about that you purchased and you've just been holding for way too long. That happened to me once I started using the app. I was like, whoa, I forgot about these tokens from this project in this wallet. And then it's going to say, select the ones that you want to see in your portfolio. You just click on them, click save. That's really the end of it, right? Then you go back to your main screen and you will then see all of your tokens in one place. Like Vince said earlier, we support tokens on Polygon, Ethereum, and BSC. And so, yeah, I mean that's really the whole thing, right? Then it'll start tracking your trades for you, yada 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 yada, blah blah blah. You'll figure out the rest. It's very intuitive.
So what you just explained is very simple. One, download it. Says you got an iPhone, got an Android, go to your app store, download the Lynx Crypto app. Second thing that you do, copy your wallet address, and it will lead you through the steps of importing the tokens that you want. You select yes or no if you want to import a token or not. Yep. Next question, can you do this with multiple wallets? So like say I'm someone who separates my wallet and I have tokens all over the place. Can I just...
Well, yes, bro. Come on. Where have you been? Come on. No, I'm just saying. That was the primary reason for the whole app in the first place is me doing all these DGen plays with Vince here. And we ended up with like 15 different wallets, all with like not a insubstantial amount of money of them. But then you just forget about which ones have what and all this sort of stuff. I was like, if I just had one place that would show me everything that I care about in all my wallets, that would be amazing. And that's where it comes from. So yes, multiple wallets. There is no limit. It's totally free. You add as many as you want. And I want to be 100% clear. There's no wallet connection. You do not connect your wallet. You just paste your wallet address and we read the public blockchain data. That's it. There is no trading in Lynx. There is nothing like that because we care about security above all. And that was like a mission of Lynx from the start. And a lot of people have asked for trading and maybe we could talk about it. But I know myself, right? Let's just say you have $10,000 in a wallet. The last thing you want to do is connect that wallet to any place, right? It's like you got to be 100% sure this place is legitimate. And so when we're talking about downloading a new app and having it track your wallet, you do not want to be connecting your wallet to that because you get drained that way. So there is no wallet connection in Lynx. It's just a paste, and you can paste in as many as you want. If you have, for example, yeah, exactly. A lot of people I've known, yes, exactly. A lot of people I've known have they track influencers' wallets that they found out about, and they're like, I want to make sure this dude's up isn't into any sketchy stuff. So they track that dude's wallet and see what he's up to because it'll pull in all your trades and everything in real time. So
and it'll send you notifications for actions on that wallet.
No, not currently, but that's something we're working on. It won't give you like, hey, here's a trade or whatever. But that is
this
something.
This guy just dumped 90% of.
Yeah, no, it doesn't give you anything like that. But that is something. It's actually something we 100% have the functionality to do. It's honestly just been a matter of like getting to it. But it would not be a big thing to be at least like, hey, this transaction just happened on one of your wallets. It's not a big deal. So the one thing. Let me add. I think I may have left this part out. You got to create an account, right? That's how we tie all of your wallets together. So you create an account, which is just an email address and a password. If you don't trust us, by all means, create a fake email address, use some fake thing, doesn't matter. We don't ask for your name. There's no phone. There's no nothing. The only thing is there's an email verification that you have to go through to keep bots off of our platform, but that is it, right? So it's just an email and a password, and then you're off to the races.
Okay. Let me just summarize this a bit because I see a couple like wells and projects that I'm sure of down there. So there's been like times where people are like, oh no, I connected to a DApp and my wallet just got hacked.
Yep.
So what people can do then is I buy 10K worth of this token, put it in this wallet, store the key phrase away, and I don't have to touch that wallet. I could take the
Correct.
wallet address, put it into Lynx, and then monitor what's going on with that wallet without ever connecting that wallet to a DApp again.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah, I was gonna say
Right. Right. And
that's
so
exactly what I was gonna say. Our cold storage people love us.
and so to, right.
Yep, yep. And I'll take a shot just on the flip side of that. If you're like, well, why is this better than like CoinGecko, for example? On those platforms, you don't have to connect your wallet, but you do have to manually input every single trade that you do. So that's sort of the trade-off. The space that we've kind of pegged here is we'll track all of your stuff automatically and you don't have to connect, right? That's the beauty, the best of both worlds.
And also, you don't have to, pay that absorbent amount to list on there and get and track full data. But we won't talk
Ye-
about that. Uh,
Yep. Yep.
so,
Yep. And
uh,
I just to be clear, on links we have listed tokens. This is the thing that confuses a lot of people. But any token you add that's on one of our supported chains, or supported chains and dexes, right? Because we don't allow all dexes, but we have quite a few. Any of the major ones, if they have a liquidity pool on any major dex, you can track it. It just won't have the project's data. For example, it will have their contract address and their name and their symbol and that sort of stuff, but it won't have like their telegram, their logo, etc. We just have like some placeholder images for that. A listed project, on the other hand, you would be able to quickly from within links just like open up, their Telegram link and just, pop over into their Telegram or pop to their Twitter. Our three social medias are Discord, Twitter, and Telegram. So you'd be able to get there very quickly, their website, etc. So that's kind of the difference between listed and not listed, but you can track anything on.
right.
Yeah.
And so let's like kind of eliminate the potential for any confusion, right? So there's two parts to links, right? There's the consumer part, and then there's like the B2C, business to consumer part, and then there's the B2B, which is the business to business side. So specifically on the business to consumer side, what we're talking about is downloading the app, tracking your token data inside the app, right? And
Yep.
that's where we're at. How much does that service cost for anybody in the room listening to go to the app store, download the app, and start tracking their data?
Uh, yeah. Yep. One zilch. That's it. Yeah. No. Totally free. Totally free. And we're dedicated to keeping it that way at all costs.
That's beautiful. And so, like, now that we got that understood, consumers, you can just use this app for free. It's been basically cost provided by the team, paid for by the team, just to build this and give this to the community. So all that's been happening to this point is building a technology that people can use, and it's been coming out of the team's pocket to make sure that this thing become a reality and like remains a reality, right? So the next question is, it's like, so how do you keep this thing going, right? How, like, how, you got bills, like, how do
Yeah.
you keep it going?
Well, yeah, pockets. I mean, just to be real, I would say 90+% of it has come out of my pocket or Vince's pocket or one of our pockets, right? It's all just been funded and it hasn't been cheap. There have been months where we have $2,000 AWS bills, and we're like, what are we doing here? Like, what? This is insanity. But we've done all that's driven us to do is optimize and optimize and optimize and optimize, and now we've got it to a very comfortable place. I feel like. We do obviously have our listing fees, which are nominal, just a one-time fee. But they, you maybe get one or two of those a month. That helps out. But really, I mean, I don't want to say a nonprofit, but almost at this point, nonprofit level with what we've done so far and just building up our service for people, right? Because
Uh,
one thing I'll tell you just a quick like anecdotal story. My stepdad learned that I was making a lot of money in crypto, right? And he was like, I want to learn how to do this. And I was like, all right, let me show you. I learned for a boomer, it was damn near impossible for him to like, what do I have to do? I have to have MetaMask on 100 different chains, and then I have to have a centralized exchange account and go through this annoying KYC process. And his KYC got hung up, and it was like all these things. He tried it on like 3 different things, and then he accidentally sent money to the wrong wallet, and it was just a nightmare. So one thing that like the original purpose of Lynx was to just make it easier to be in the space, right? Just make it a
Simplify,
hell of a
simplify,
lot simpler.
yeah.
So that's what we've been doing up into this point, and now we're to a point where we feel like our service and the back end data that we've built, which is the most valuable thing we offer, we can now offer that to other projects and let them build whatever they can dream up using our data. I mean, that's really the core of it.
That's beautiful. So monetizing the API,
Yep.
monetizing the node. Now, there's one more thing here. What can consumers do to help you? Or can I answer this question?
Answer your own question. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I just swallowed spit. It was such a guttural laugh. I like threw my head back. So for consumers, we like a lot of us in here in the BBTF ecosystem, SafeMoon ecosystem, or even in the Binance ecosystem, right? And like we use these services that don't, directly benefit us when this does the same thing. So one of the things that as a consumer you can do is just use the service, because one of the things that Lynx is able to do as a platform is go to a business and say, hey, I see you're advertising here, come advertise with us, right? We have X amount of views per day, X amount of views per week, X amount of views per month. So monetizing the advertising space also helps keep this up, helps bring new features to this platform. So even as a consumer, you can use this too. And it's important because, when Spencer said earlier, this is basically a nonprofit. The BBTF ecosystem, like we like liquidity injection, so we can't get down with the nonprofit, so we got to get that rolling in.
Well, yeah, and that's where the B2B aspect comes in. So just to touch on that, I think I don't know how much of this I'm supposed to say, Don, but you can yell at me later. But I think within a matter of weeks, not months, we'll be rolling out. It will be branded as Lynx, but it will be also we will have all of your logos on there as
It'll be
well.
branded as Lynx. We could just say that.
Yeah, it will be branded as Lynx, but it's powered by you guys, and just like profits will be split, and we'll be going down the middle on it, and that will allow businesses to come in and seamlessly sign up for our API service, sign up for our nodes, and we will be a direct competitor to, for example, Chainstack, Infura, QuickNode. If you look at any of those companies, Anchor, all of those people, I think will be coming in at half the cost, and so we'll just be able to help out a lot of projects that way. So that will be coming up very, very soon, and it will be a great benefit to both of our organizations.
Absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't think you've even seen it yet, Don, but I sent it to Vince, and he was like, "That's a work of art." he was pumped. Yeah, I can send you some screenshots later, but yeah, I mean, I think it'll be coming up extremely soon. Yeah, and it'll be super exciting.
You mentioned like the listing process, and if I could tell an anecdotal story about Vince, and like my man Vince is just crushing it. Like I don't understand, like, well, I do understand because but he works so much. So the first time our team heard about Lynx, I think it was me and Lee, and then Gotti actually sent it to us. And so we were all talking about it, and it was like, hey, I'm gonna set up a meeting, let's do this, and get listed on Lynx. And we were like looking at it, and we are like, oh, this is really cool, and then so we actually set up a call, because you can go through the whole process without a call, but yeah, yeah, exactly. So we jump on the call. My boy Vince is on the call. He's just like, yo, man, I just left the job. I'm getting ready to go to another job. Sorry for the informality. And like, this was like the most articulate, like, sales pitch of Lynx Crypto ever. So much so that like we were like, yo, not only do we like this guy in the company, but like, how can we work together? And that's like one of the things that's like, working with someone who's so passionate about their brand to where they're not like whimsidaisical about their brand representation or like how it's explained to the community. Like there was so much passion in that one call that it's phenomenal. Yeah, I just wanted to throw that little anecdote.
Yeah, and I'll jump on board there and say Vince is the man. He is the
Yep.
man. I am the nerd that hides in his closet and writes code, and he is the one out there talking to everyone about it and doing everything. It would be nowhere near where it is today without him. He has he's been a lifesaver, honestly. He's the man.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. And it's one of the things is it's like people like we often overlook the fact that you know maybe there are some people who are just trying to improve the space. Like given like we all want to have like the best product out there, right? Like that's our goal. It's like we have competitors, we get it. We want to be better than the competitors, but like the competition isn't with, the next crypto over. Like the competition is, like good versus bad. Like we're trying to establish a precedent of what is good. Um I'll throw this out there. It's like, I hear people talking about LIO all the time, right? And like I don't hear this spoken of as much. Like, you know, like utility can happen inside of a token, and one of the utilities is even though it's small and overlooked aside from other things is LIO. It's like a utility in itself. Like tokens are the future. Gotti just shared this like very interesting post the other day about Citibank offering their tokenization services or utilizing tokenization services. Did a test with a logistics company, and then during that test, they were successfully able to like utilize like tokenization to like pay the logistics company for successful completion of a job. Right. The question is like when you look at shareholder profits and by the way, let me preface this before I say anything. Just because I'm using the term shareholder in this does not mean that I'm necessarily describing tokenization as a business investor relationship. This is just an example of a utilization of the service. So, disclaimer out of the way. So, like, if you are like going to be successfully able to take a token, right? Create a market for the token, meaning that people buy and sell the token on an automated market maker, or even on an exchange. And if you want that token to have a attached or associated value, right, you have to have some intermediary relationship between the IRL or in real life action and the value of the token. So, and also, let me just make this clear. We're still like evaluating or calculating the value of a token compared to US dollar, Canadian dollar, the Chinese yuan, like whatever currency you want to use, we're still using like some type of monetary currency to compare the value. So, like, what needs to exist is that little contract that is there for, business owner A to say, All right, here is the predefined profit that needs to be sent to the contract. But you need to remove the decision making from the process and utilize that intermediary smart contract, which is the LIO for us, to take the revenue, insert it into the token, but do it in a manner that benefits the holders of the token, right? Like if I just go into the token right now and just like, all right, I'm gonna have here's the token from my excess liquidity that I have, and then here is the BNB. I'm gonna pair it and send it to the liquidity pool. Well, like all you created was just like more liquidity for the token, and it's harder for like well, it does stabilize the price a little bit more. I said the P word. I'm sorry. I'm gonna get in trouble for that. But on the other hand, if you use the LIO where you go in and you actually buy your own token, but you act ethically with your purchase of your own token and then just pair it with, whatever the liquidity pair is. It could be BNB, BUSD, USDC, Ethereum, Polygon, whatever the pairing is. You pair it and then you put it back in the liquidity pool. What you've created was an action that benefits the token holders, but also like ensures that the business does the proper thing with their profits. So like it literally automates like end of year shareholder agreements. It automates like joint ventures. It automates LLPs or limited liability partnerships. It automates all of that stuff with a simple contract. So on the one hand, tokens can have utility in and of themselves in the technology. On the link side, not saying links on the link side, it's pure utility, right? It's pure utility that can be integrated into every token ecosystem, every single blockchain. Everybody can utilize what Links is offering. And not only that, it makes it easier for better technology to enter the space because it's not price gouging people, on the data that they're providing. It's not a get rich quick scheme. You got a message? There's a there's a BBTF token out there floating around that's not us too. So which is what I want to out. So it's flattering. It's flattering. So and I got a lot of nicknames out there too that are flattering too. How does Link solve this issue that you just brought up? Like this is like an in real life moment that we can discuss. how would utilizing links help me avoid a scam links token? Can I answer? No. I did it again. I did it again. So like so like we said before, like obviously if you're utilizing the Links app, right? I'm pretty sure the Links app like would, if they were to link list a token, would probably have their, advanced data already inside of the app. So like one, like look for the verified, data sources. Is that a reason for tokens to list with links? Maybe. But the second thing is it's like we're this is just something that everyone should know. All right. And like we saw this happen in the past. Tokens will launch and they'll have, you know, $400 in liquidity. You think it's smart to put $1,000 into that? Probably not. So like looking at the technical details of a token are really important. And one of the things that I like about the Links app is that is not, you don't get like, the hype. Like we could integrate voting polls and comments and stuff. And like, that's one of the things that like Spencer has a really good user peer-to-peer interaction thing that could be coming to fruition for like token launches and stuff. But like specifically for the tokens, it's focused on the data. And when you look at a token and you look at the token analytics, like you can literally just look at a token inside of this app and be like, that's probably not one to play with because it looks like it's heavily weighted towards sales, extreme buying pressure, and there's only like $400 in liquidity. Like it makes no sense for a token to have $25,000 daily volume but only 400K in liquidity. That means that someone is just buying, selling, buying, selling, buying, selling, buying, selling with the same amount of money and not necessarily like adding anything to the pool. So I think those kind of like key technical indicators or little KPIs for tokens are like beneficial. And as we're users in this space, like the users have an opportunity to learn just from utilizing tools that simplify what we're experiencing. And to quote Michael Scott, kiss, keep it stupid simple. Actually, keep it simple stupid, but yeah. That's beautiful. The the staking contract address, correct? Hmm. So this is going to go off the topic of links a little bit, but I kind of want to bring this up. Our favorite CTO Lee created this thing called elastic staking. If the tokens are in your wallet, they still show up on links, right? Yeah, it removes the token from the wallet and puts it in a separate contract. And if it's a separate contract, the tokens aren't held by the wallet. They're just like there's a dividend IOU essentially created for that wallet. So once it's removed from the wallet, the technology then changes because it's not in your wallet. But on the other hand, we got a little team of developers on our side created something called elastic staking, where the tokens are still in your wallet, and then you can enroll in a function to where you can still like spend your tokens from your wallet even if they are staked. Pretty cool thing. If you want to if you want to work with links and BBTF in the same vein, I think it's a good idea to kind of like reach out and you can get the best of both worlds. Yeah, and also if you don't mind, I have I was planning on ending at 8:30 if we can kind of keep that timeline. That tends to happen in our spaces. Yeah, so wait, are you able to hear me? Yeah, so if there are no requests, do you want to maybe start winding down the space? Maybe do some closing thoughts. I know Spencer stepped away, so um, we can just. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, yeah, go ahead. Oh, he owns the Mahina token.
Hello, gentlemen. Thanks for bringing me up.
Bryson.
You know I have questions, Don, right? They're like, Don starts going, oh, nobody's got any requests. Wait, what are you talking about? Real simple one. I'm just curious. You guys were originally talking about the market and how expensive the other vendors are to provide the data. Is that simply because it's expensive to provide the data, or there's just no competition and it's more of a monopoly situation? Are you guys, now that you've developed this capabilities, are you then looking to undercut the market and grab market share? What's the,
Yeah.
or are you just simply utilizing it to
No.
make your own services more cost effective? All of the above?
Yeah. So a couple things. A couple questions there. So why we chose our pricing strategy, but secondly, why the market price is set where it's at. I'll start with the latter. So why the market price is set where it's at. My assumption is that people just feel like they can get away with charging what they charge. Um, like the technical infrastructure to allow this to occur. I don't necessarily believe that the cost of the technical infrastructure like justifies the cost. But what is extremely expensive is marketing. So if these big companies want to compete with one another, and you don't want to have one person being dominant, if company A has 100K Google AdWords budget, company B can't compete for that market share unless their marketing budget is 100K plus. So in order to justify those costs, that company competition are moving more and more dollars to the marketing bucket of their operating expenses. And as they move more money towards the marketing bucket to compete with another company, it just drives the consumer price up. So that's just my assumption. I haven't, gotten a look, behind the curtain for any of these companies, but that assumption predominantly holds true for most markets. So that's what I would say there. But secondly, I wrote a thesis on JetBlue Airlines, which is pretty funny. This is before, the JetBlue mergers back in the day. And then when you look at the airline industries, you have like, your luxury travel, your economy travel, and then you have what's called your low cost providers. Your low cost providers just, essentially get you there. And that's what JetBlue Airlines, aim to take over when they entered the market. You have a market dominated by, it was American Eagle at one point, was it American Airlines. I forgot who they merged with, but if I had enough time to think about it, like, I'd say this airline name and you'd remember them. But Delta, United, you have these airlines, here domestically, that are, essentially your luxury travel. They have like, first class, business class. And then you have, airlines like, JetBlue, Spirit, Frontier, that essentially are what we refer to as low cost providers. So upon market entry, and for the incubators, it was extremely important to us to have a low cost provision, so that people can enter the market without these extremely high prices or a high barrier to entry. So the market was lacking a low cost provider, and that was an opportunity that we saw and wanted to take.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Don.
Hey guys, awesome space. My question is, how big is the API market? Like, how many companies would be searching this out, and how much value would you create? Like, is it in the millions, billions?
So eventually, so the API market, and it depends on, is the company using their own infrastructure or other companies. Like, a company will grow big enough to where they create their own infrastructure. That's inevitable, right? So maybe Coinbase started using APIs and then they grew beyond that. CoinMarketCap, one of their biggest provisions is APIs. Dex Screener, when they moved into the monetization phase of their business, one of the first things that they offered before they offered nodes was APIs. So for data providers, it's huge. And I mean millions of dollars. So if I had to like put a finger on it right now, where the market is at, I would say it's probably in the hundreds of millions. If you were to ask me 10 years from now, I'd say it's in the hundreds of billions. So it's a huge market for the API service provision. And here's why. A lot of people in here in this room are familiar with SafeMoon, right? So in the SafeMoon app, you have the opportunity to import tokens that are not necessarily traded on the SafeMoon DEX. You have to get that token data from somewhere, so you get it from an API. When you're looking at the charts inside of the SafeMoon app, the charts have this little logo in a corner. It might say TradingView, it might say Dex Screener, and CoinMarketCap. Actually, you can switch between CoinMarketCap and Dex Screener inside of the app. Every time you hit that, that server or call that API, you're accumulating a cost. So when you have multiple APIs like CoinMarketCap and Dex Screener, that's called load balancing because you're switching between the two. So yeah, it's a huge market. A lot of apps that we use are using it, whether it's branded or unbranded. And one of the biggest things that people are using, TradingView, for example, like all of our charts look the same because of, like most people get their charting data from TradingView. But Spencer's back, and I think Spencer's better to answer this because this is his area of specialty.
Yeah, I don't know. What was the question? I don't know. Sorry, I had to step away.
Yeah, it was in terms of the API market, how big is the market?
I think it's pretty big, right? I mean, I think it's pretty huge, especially in like this DeFi space that we're in, right? It's like every single project, no matter what they're trying to do, at the very least, they need access to their own tokens price, right? I mean, that is like the bare minimum. And you could argue that every project needs that, whether that's just to have a chart on their website or what have you. But then beyond that, I mean, anyone who's doing any sort of crypto is going to need that pricing data, right? Yeah, I mean, PayPal, everyone, right? I mean, anyone who's doing it somewhere, somehow, some way, some person is saying, what is the price of this token and what is it worth as compared to the USD? And just like, not to say that we're going to do a partnership or whatever, but like Trust Wallet is a fantastic example. We've had conversations with them about it and all sorts of stuff. Like everyone who's doing this, Coinbase, anyone, they all need this API data because they all need it. And it's a very big limitation on a lot of these platforms right now, is that they will only support, like they will only be able to display to you like the value of your tokens in your wallet if it's a wallet app, if it's supported on like CoinMarketCap or CoinGecko, because they subscribe to those companies' APIs. So what we're trying to say is we'll provide you an API that's going to give you access to everything, right? Every token. We're not big or small, doesn't matter. We're going to pick up those trades and we're going to give you that data.
Right. The traditional finance has grown quite substantially. Since the introduction of the New York Stock Exchange and then the Nasdaq, and then we've seen companies, right? Like you're going to have real time pricing data for the price of Tesla, for example, in order to successfully trigger a profitable trade on the price of Tesla. We've come a long way in the computing age since people calling into the New York Stock Exchange and placing orders over the phone, right? It's all real time now. So, and what we've seen with crypto and this like improved tokenization model for the economy is, you know, the data that is real time is becoming increasingly or moving at an increasingly more rapid pace. XRP proves this. Banks utilizing CBDCs prove this. So data is increasingly important to our economy. So when we ask about how big is the API market or in the data providers, I honestly think in the future the data providers are going to be the new clearinghouse.
Yeah, and I think just to just touch on one more thing, I mean, even within the API type stuff, there's different aspects that we're going to be offering. We're going to be offering access to our nodes, which allows things like wallet apps and such like that to be able to submit transactions to the blockchain, etc. That alone, I could probably name 15 companies to you off the top of my head in this space that are all making a lot of money, and they're all charging an insane amount of money. And that's just one aspect of what we're going to be doing. So, I mean, I think that says, I mean, enough right there that there's definitely a market for it, and we're just trying to come in and be cheaper and better than all of these guys.
Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate it. I know you guys want to close it down. Now my brain is going crazy thinking about the deck spot. I'll just leave it at that.
Hey, don't count yourself out. Don't count yourself out. Fill in the white space, you know. Uh,
I got a question for Spencer.
what's up?
How hard or how long did it take you to kind of get to this point? I
Oh
mean, is
man.
this something where if I've got your brain power, I can just bang it out real quick, or is it, a long?
No. Well, so I mean, that's a tough question to answer, right? Because I didn't just like whenever I got involved in the Web3 space, I already had a development background, and so that obviously gave me a leg up. But even within that, I think just building Links alone in its first version, I mean, Vince can attest to this. It was probably like 6 or 7 months. I just took off. I sort of work as an independent contractor, working project to project. I took some time off, spent like 6 or 7 months just building, 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 got it, and that was just the V1. And then we realized that it needed a lot of changes, and we made a lot of improvements. We realized that just things like, just to be nerdy about it, our database couldn't handle the amount of writes that were coming in, because there's a lot more trades on the blockchains than I was expecting, especially when you're talking about three. So we had a lot of scaling issues, all of that sort of stuff, wallet tracking, real-time transactions, servers failing, etc. I mean, hundreds of hours of time, I would say, realistically, to get to where we are today. And where we are today, I think, is, I don't want to say bulletproof, but as close to bulletproof as a service can be.
And it's scalable. You can take on as many clients as you want to at
Yeah,
this
I
point.
think so, right? So that's sort of been the thing, talking with Don. It's like, all right, so how do we take this thing
Hey,
from
whoa,
like
whoa, 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 whoa.
what?
How much information are you about to give?
Nothing.
Okay.
Nothing. I'm gonna just talk around his question. No, I'm just joking.
Okay.
I was just gonna say a lot of what we've been talking about is, and why it's taken so long, is how do we take this thing from like a a solid service for like end clients to like a highly scalable solution for businesses that are then going to be bringing on their thousands of clients, right? Because when we're talking about Links, we have what, like 3,000 users or something, which is not an incredible amount. And now we're going to scale that out to, okay, well, how many users does Mirror Protocol have? How many users is SafeMoon have? And we need to support all of those. So a lot of planning and infrastructure has gone into this, but I think we're to a point now where I think we're ready. I do.
What would you say the biggest company you're talking with today is?
Mm. Yeah, I don't
I
know.
was just kidding. I thought I would
Uh,
sneak one in there and get it out of him.
Hey, can we take this opportunity real quick? So Bryson's up here. He owns the Mahina token. Really cool token. He's tokenizing like professional services, starting in the financial services sector. Did you want to like pop in and maybe talk about your token, and also um like the IRL stuff that he's doing like definitely requires links. So
Yeah,
um
no, I definitely want to have a conversation with you guys. I love what I've heard, today. I definitely see the need for it, and it's certainly a perfect marriage, I think, with BBTF. So I'm excited about this partnership and what it'll present and allow for in the future. So bravo for you guys to come together and put it together. I'm doing a space on Mahina tomorrow, so if you're interested in that, check out the space tomorrow. But it's exciting times. I mean, this is really
Is it
fun
tomorrow
to be a
or
part of.
Thursday?
Or is it? It's only Tuesday, so yeah, Thursday.
Yeah. Okay.
But thank you guys for doing the space. More knowledge you can share, the better, and it just pushes the ball forward. So I appreciate you as always.
Bryson?
I'm sorry, was that a question or?
Yeah, he was saying like throw your elevator pitch.
Oh, so Mahina is a tokenization for financial services. It's a vehicle to allow us to promote women advisors in the space. So we're
Did I? Okay.
oh, I've been on mute the whole time.
Oh, there you go.
Saying Mahina is a project to support women advisors, financial advisors. We're leveraging tokenization and Web3 technology to support women in the industry that have been underserved by, agencies and are really at a point in their careers where they're looking to elevate. And so it really gives us a competitive advantage in the marketplace as far as marketing, events, things of that nature. So it's exciting to be able to merge Web3 with our core business, financial planning. So glad to be a part of the BBTF ecosystem for sure. Awesome. Love to have you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for that. And Vince, thanks for putting this space together. Spence, thanks for building this amazing technology. I am so grateful for you two's partnership. And sorry if there's noise in the background. I'm sitting on my patio. But I want to do two things in this closing. So first, I want to talk about what we discussed, but secondly, like what can we do collectively as a community to kind of get the best utilization out of this and also push the space forward. So first, we went over, links in and of itself. It's extremely easy to get. All you do is if you're on the iPhone, go to your app store, Android, go to Google Play Store, and then just download the application. If you're not sure what links is, or like if you, haven't, been able to realize its benefit to you, just go to, the linkscrypto.app website. Is that the right URL? Linkscrypto.app website. And as Spencer stated earlier, there's an explainer video for you that'll kind of take you through the benefits of it. And the next thing that we realized is that if you have multiple wallets and you're big into this space, you can kind of decrease your vulnerability to phishing attacks or connecting your wallet to the wrong place. Because a lot of times we like to look at it, but we don't actually do anything. So if you're one of the wallet watchers, then what's extremely easy is to download the app, paste your wallet address, and like just click yes on the tokens that you want to watch. You can watch it all from one place, and you're never connecting to a DApp with the Lynx Crypto app, so you're not putting, your crypto at risk, to any of the number of scams that are out there. Next thing that we realized is that if you're a business in this space and you're looking to utilize some of the best data on the market, most time data, it's very easy for you to, just interact with crypto, utilize the API services. Sir said we're going to have the new infrastructure up for in about 2 weeks. So APIs, those, whatever you need, quicker, more affordable, especially in the incubation period of a business. Also, if you're in the incubation period of a business, it's behoove you. That word came back. Oh, word. Um, just reach out to us at Blusters Tech. We love working with startup companies, creating build strategies, pricing strategies to get these great ideas to the market so that we can advance the Web3 space. And I think the most important thing that we have is working with people who have integrity and measure values and ethics is really the key to a good partnership. Once you establish that, finding the win-win will come naturally to either business. Then the final thing that I wanted to discuss is what can we as users do to kind of push this forward. And it's the first thing that I said: simply download the app, use the app. When people ask, how to, see stuff, or when people talk about, oh my gosh, I lost tokens. One of the best things that we can do is refer them to this app. So let's identify, conversations where think crypto is a solution. And if you're out there and you see people who just want to, have a project, send them to us at BBTF. And finally, if you know people that want to, have automated trading while they're sleeping, also check out mydeckspot.com. So thank you for that opportunity. Podcast 2024. You heard it here first. I'm just kidding. I am just kidding. Please do not tweet me when podcast. Dear Lord. No, Spence, you're absolutely phenomenal. I have to do this again on LinkedIn. I love your spaces on LinkedIn.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 yo, go, go, go. Hustle hard, hustle every single day. I'll be making moves till I'm buried in my grave. To the system, I don't wanna be a slave. I've been doing shit.